here we go to Larry. Hi, what do you think? That's an interesting question.
Yeah, it really is, Kent, and opinions have been shifting. What's interesting, though, is Hiroshima wasn't the only mass killing, possibly war crime. During the Second World War, let me read you some of the statistics on this. The firebombing of Tokyo, which preceded Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killed 90 to 100,000 people, mostly civilians, Japanese civilians. Dresden, Germany, 135,000 killed in carpet firebombing there, and other German cities were firebombed as well. So there were horrendous events preceding Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Now, the interesting point here, Kent, is that most of the military brass, including Eisenhower, Admiral William Leahy, which was Truman's chief of staff, the commander of the Army Air Force, Hap Arnold, and Fleet Commander Nimitz, all big names in the military of that era, they all said it was unnecessary, that Japan was already defeated, ready to surrender, and this was unnecessary. Let me read you what Eisenhower said, who, of course, was the general in charge of the Normandy invasion of Europe. He said that he thought the bomb was completely unnecessary. Japan was already defeated, and he thought that our country should avoid shocking the world opinion by the use of a weapon whose employment was, I thought, no longer mandatory as a measure to save American lives. So Truman apparently went against his own commander's advice on this. Now, why did he do that? The speculation is that Truman was worried about the Soviet Union, containing the Soviet Union after the Second World War. So he used the bomb to demonstrate America's ability to defend itself against the Soviet Union's expansion. And he wanted to demonstrate that not only did we have the bomb, but we were willing to use it.
Wow, I mean, because I think the Russians had just moved into Manchuria at that time.
Yeah. In fact, the Japanese were worried. They were ready to surrender largely because they were worried about the Russian forces invading Japan, and they'd have no way of defending themselves with the hordes of Russians. I mean, it was a mass army of the Russians. The military commanders of America said they were ready to surrender. It was unnecessary, but again, I think Truman used it because he was worried about what would emerge soon after that as the Cold War era. It's hard to say because, again, you could justify it that it was a necessary weapon to fight the Cold War, to contain Russia, which was, again, a threat to, after the Nazis were defeated, the Soviet Union became the new threat of world domination. So, it's hard to say. But, I mean, look at Dresden. Look at Tokyo. Those fire bombings. Those were horrible, too. So if we should apologize for the A-bombing of Japan, what about apologizing to the Germans for Dresden and for the firebombing of Tokyo? It's a muddled situation, especially in war. Where civilians now are considered fair game because it's intermingled with cities that have a material interest in the war effort. Cities that have a population that has to be shown that it's hopeless, that they should surrender. Now, Dresden wasn't a military installation at all. It wasn't significant militarily, but that was to show the Germans that they had no way of continuing the war, and they wanted to have the population understand that. So, again, these were psychological moves and all that. Is it fair in war? I don't know.
Yeah. All right, sir. Thank you for coming on. We'll talk tomorrow.
All right, Ken.